Jonathan, I've got an awful lot of letting agents and they seem to be talking about Vaboo at the moment. Talk to me. What is Vaboo and why should it make a difference to letting agents?
So Vaboo is a customer engagement and perks platform for the lettings industry.
Okay.
It's designed to give our clients a point of difference against their competition,
Okay.
improve the service levels for both renters and landlords, and ultimately help them grow their business and drive additional revenue streams as well.
Okay. So why did you set it up in the first place and when did you set it up?
So the early, I guess, seeds of Vaboo were in 2013. I had quit corporate life, having built up a rental portfolio along the side of my day job. And in 2013, I specifically left the corporate world to actually move into property development
Okay.
and property trading. And lo and behold, it was the first time I'd started having problems with tenants not paying their rent. And I was actually very concerned about the future rise in arrears and the risk to me as a landlord. And because of that, it also made me focus very much on the agents I was using to manage my properties. And there was about 3 tenants I had across a number of properties who were suddenly not paying their rent. And I felt that the agents at that time weren't doing very much to solve those problems. And it made me realise that actually the money I was paying them, they weren't doing very much for their service. And in the first time where I really wanted them to show their worth, they very much left the problem at my feet.
Because this is normally the bit where someone says I set up a letting agency myself and decided to be one myself.
No, that's not what I did. I was doing property development stuff, but what I'd been doing in my past life, I'd spent 9-10 years working for American Express, heavily customer-centric business. I'd also spent some time working in the sort of corporate rewards, employee benefits space, and across my career I had a lot of kind of retail partnerships and relationships. And a lot of what we were doing with our clients at the time was generating discounts, etc. So I thought to myself, well, if I can help my tenants save a bit of money, then that will hopefully help make it easier for them to pay their rent. And at the time, all I was thinking about was, how do I get that rent into my back pocket? Because arrears is costly. And I was just doing that on a very, very small scale with my tenants. And what was surprising was the response to me trying to help them. They very much expected me to kick them out of the property. They saw me as a rogue landlord because that's what the media told them I was. And there I was putting my hand out, trying to understand their problems and trying to help. And the knock-on effect of that was extremely positive for me as a landlord. My tenants stayed longer. We sorted the arrears issues out with the few that we had the problems with. One of the big things was they were definitely looking after my properties better. My maintenance costs were reducing.
Hold on a second. You're telling me that you're saving them a couple of quid and that makes them pay the rent? Surely there's no connection, or is it because there's greater empathy because they think you're caring?
It was without doubt the relationship. It wasn't necessarily because they were saving lots of money. It was the fact that I turned around to them and tried to understand their problems and help.
Do you think we as an industry understand tenant problems?
No.
Now, the reason you're here today is to ask questions about the letting industry, because you do talk to a lot of letting agents. You haven't paid a penny to be here or any consideration. It's just that an awful lot of people are talking about Vaboo at the moment, and a lot of my clients use you as well. What exactly do you offer letting agents, and why should they take reference from what you do?
So what we really offer them is a point of difference against their competition. There's a lot of opportunity out there for agents to improve service levels when it comes to tenants.
Okay.
And that in turn has benefits to the landlord, obviously. Agents that we speak to on a daily basis, they're forward-thinking agents who have recognised the need to do more for tenants, have the desire to do more for tenants.
Because we're going to be talking about that in greater detail in some other videos.
Sure.
Yeah.
And most of the agents that we speak to haven't necessarily got the time or the expertise to provide that extra level of service.
You're almost like a customer services department for tenants, aren't you?
I guess in some ways we are. Our service as a whole is about customer and brand engagement.
But at the same time, you're not doing it for free. Who earns out of this?
So, no, our service is not for free, because if it was for free, that point of difference would disappear overnight. I firmly believe that in this life, nobody values anything that's free. In terms of the ROI, first and foremost, our service is something which does set our clients apart from the competition. So that should help them drive new instructions from this market, which is only getting more and more competitive.
Okay.
And then secondly, there are other features within the platform which, if tenants use, the agents themselves can generate additional revenue streams, be it directly through products and services, or potentially actually through advertising as well.
On average, what can an agent earn from either a tenant or as a whole per month? I know it depends on numbers and things.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite early days. We only launched this piece for agents in November. Prior to November of 2018, we were working with sort of large market accommodation providers with the additional revenue.
Yeah, but you had loads of people. If you don't mind me saying, at Arlo, it was like bees around a honeypot. There were loads of people coming to your stand.
Yeah, I mean, the additional revenue streams for agents, in theory, are endless. We're getting more and more suppliers of products and services who are willing to give our users, the tenants, our clients' customers, discounts on their products and service, and pay a commission or additional revenue from every transaction.
Which you get a slice because you're not doing it for free, but the agent also gets a slice, but then the tenant also gets a discount as well.
Yes, however, the slice that we get is minimal. We pass the majority on to the agents. If anything, the slice that we get is more of an administration slice.
So why are you doing it?
Because our clients pay us a monthly fee to put all their users onto the platform.
I'm with you. So that's how you earn your money. Because again, if you weren't doing it for anything, I'd be worried. The thing that really I like about it is the engagement you get from tenants who are on this scheme.
Yes.
And I know in another video we're going to be talking about it, but pull up your screen now. And what the interesting thing, pull up that London screen. We can do that now. Be fine. And talk about what is the national happiness rate of a tenant at the moment, and you asked various questions about how happy they were. So I know in another video we're going to go into a lot more detail going through the different regions, but let's go for the worst one, which, hey, guess surprise, is London. What is the happiness rating of a tenant in London?
Well,
I know you must have a different name for it, but go on.
Yeah, so from a survey that we launched towards the end of last year, with a scale of sort of plus to 0 and plus 100, minus 100, London actually scored minus 15.
Wow.
Those perhaps were not surprising. But what was not necessarily surprising, but what was kind of interesting to me was the happiest place in the UK was the Yorkshire and the Humber, with a score of plus 34.
Well, we're going to have a separate video on that, which will be on my YouTube channel. But what was the happiness rating of London tenants who went through with Vaboo?
The Vaboo users actually scored our clients in London a plus 20.
That's a big difference, mate.
Yeah. So minus 15 to plus 20.
So that follows on with what you were saying at the start, is that you're almost, because you're getting engagement from the tenant, because the tenant feels more loved and therefore is more likely not to arrears because there's a personal connection, and also they're more likely to look after the property. Well, that sounds like heaven to a letting agent, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I think also the agents that are our clients have a lot to do with that as well. Because, as I say, they're forward-thinking agents, and their customers, they want their customer service levels to be as high as possible, and we're one piece of that jigsaw.
Excellent. In the next video, can we talk about how existing Vaboo clients, agents, could do better at using the system? Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chris.